Hey guys, what's up? It's me. It's your boy once again. Sorry if the light's a little bit too bright here. I'm gonna try to make this quick as I can. A lot of things have been going on. At least interesting things that I want to talk about in professional wrestling, both WWE, TNA. WrestleMania is 4 weeks away after this Sunday. This coming Sunday, I may do a Fastlane review, pay-per-view review. Not sure, but I am definitely a lot of interesting topics I want to get out. So I'm going to be kind of rapid firing some videos today on my channel. Just A, I feel like I need the content, and B, like I said, there's things I want to talk about. However, first thing I want to talk about, as it does pertain to TNA, TNA, the Hardys. The Hardys have left TNA. They are now free agents. Not only the Hardys, but several other top talent for TNA have left as well. Before I get into dive into the Hardys, which is what this video is mostly for, top names that left TNA along with the Hardys: Drew Galloway, which I think for them was another big loss. Because I think Drew Galloway has, excuse me, has really, I don't want to say reinvent, but he's added some credibility to himself. He's rebuilt himself, I guess you could say, since he left WWE, and he's just been on fire on the independent scene, in my opinion, I think, since following him when he left. So Drew Galloway, both Matt Bennett and his wife, Maria Kanellis, and there's also their former Knockouts champion, Jade, has also left TNA. Excuse me. Her contract expired, and she just decided not to renew it. So within the span of 4 days, TNA has lost 5 top talents: the Hardys, Drew Galloway, Mike Bennett and his wife, and now Jade. So that's 6. That's pretty bad. You're losing some top talent within the span of 4 days. And again, some of these people may not consider these guys to be top talent, but for TNA, for that company, for that small promotion brand, those are top talents for them. That's top talent for them. So as it pertains to the Hardys, it seems that TNA wanted to renew a 1-year deal with the Hardys. Matt Hardy, I guess something within the contract he didn't necessarily agree with, the terms of the contract. Then TNA made another offer to the Hardys like a week before, because basically the Hardys, out of their whole 1 year of trying to negotiate a new term, a new deal with TNA, the Hardys have been signing like an extension contracts. I mean, a monthly to monthly extension. So they're working for a month, and then they add another extension for another month, so on and so forth. So basically keeping afloat, not fully contracted or locked in to TNA, but just kind of signing little agreements here and there to keep them afloat and within the company while they negotiate a new term and deal. This has been going on for about a year. Again, the Hardys, Matt in particular, did not like the terms that were being offered to him by TNA, and now TNA had offered them a new deal, 2-year deal, but now stating within the contract that not only do they wanted the rights to the broken Matt Hardy gimmick and everything that came along with it, but they wanted to receive a 10% earnings of profits of the Matt Hardy gimmick outside of TNA. Because if anyone that watches Matt Hardy, TNA, you know that the Hardys have been kind of going around making their rounds on the independent circuit with the Matt Hardy gimmick, challenging various tag teams and for the tag team titles, and carrying the TNA's tag team titles along with them. And so TNA wants to lock the Hardys in for a 2-year deal this time, but also still get a 10% cut of, you know, whatever money or earnings that they receive outside of TNA using the Matt Hardy, the broken Matt Hardy property. That set Matt Hardy off. Matt Hardy, at that moment, was no longer interested in signing with TNA, and I think as of yesterday, it made Matt and Jeff, along with his wife Rebby, both, all 3 free agents. They are now free. They are still tag team champions. Matt Hardy was willing to do something like where they can transition the titles to another tag team. TNA is said to not even want that they want to just strip the Hardys of the tag team title belts. Very bad decision, I think, by TNA. I think TNA doing the wrong thing here. I mean, who else do TNA have? I get that Anthem wants to, the new owners of TNA Anthem, they want to reboot or restart, and they also kind of want to lock some of these guys down. But my God, they're going about it like half-assed. The Hardys are really the last. They were the last legitimate big stars and whatever credibility you can say the TNA has left that they had. And to see them go, a huge loss. I think that's bad. Absolutely bad. Bad call by Anthem / TNA. Drew Galloway, I just read on his personal Facebook page, he linked an interview he had with an Irish, Scottish newspaper called the Sunny Sun or something like that. He said that TNA had actually offered him a lucrative deal to be a top guy, and they wanted him to be their top UK superstar that had global appeal and they could travel, within the UK and also within TNA. And he said that the deal was really, really good and the pay was good. However, what set him off was that they offered him this contract a week later before he decided to resign. He said, had they offered him this contract, this new lucrative contract, 3 weeks prior, he would have signed within a heartbeat. But because they waited at the last minute, and he is not really, nothing was really set in stone for him. He has a wife now. He has a house. He has things. He has bills to pay, basically, really. He has bills to pay. He has needs that need to be met. And with TNA kind of dicking about and waiting at the last minute for their contract signings, they waited at the last minute. He decided to make, other backup plans. So now when TNA presented themselves with this lucrative deal, he's like, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. I'll take my chances and go elsewhere. And Drew Galloway has been doing very well on the independent scene, especially in the UK. If you've seen any of the stuff he's done, he is the one, to me, that has added some fresh blood and that has was a shot in the arm that ICW needed 3 years ago. That got ICW to where they're at today, where they're starting to get a lot of recognition from the American audience. So there was that. Similar thing happened with the Hardys. Matt Hardy tried to contact TNA because he wanted to resign with TNA, but the officials were kind of like half-assed and never really kind of kept in contact with them. I remember Rob Van Dam years ago, before he left TNA. Rob Van Dam was going to resign with TNA before he came back to WWE back in, 2012, 2013. He was going to resign to TNA, but he said he kept going to the corporate office. He kept it for 6 months. They never got back to him at all. That he kept trying to, work out a deal because Rob Van Dam was going to, sign a contract. Rob Van Dam was saying how they were going to make a best of, DVD of Rob Van Dam, in TNA, like they've done with AJ Styles and Sting and Abyss and so many others. They're going to do the same thing for RVD. And how he said that he'd been trying to push management, for 6 months and no one ever got in contact with him. So once his contract expired, that was it. He went to WWE, and TNA never made, an outreach to Rob within those 6 months when his contract expired. They just let his contract expire, and they didn't try to negotiate with him or reach out to him to bring him back in. So Rob was kind of like, okay, well, fuck it, I'll go to WWE. Point being is, this is a bad example of TNA management. If you look at what I just mentioned about the Hardys, if you look at what I just mentioned about Rob Van Dam, and if you listen to what I just mentioned about the interview that Drew Galloway just put up on his own personal Facebook page, a link that he had, a link in his description of his Facebook page of an interview they had from the newspaper, the UK like Sun Times, basically. it's a common trend. TNA, and I think Bobby Roode even probably had gone something with similar with this as well, where TNA management, they wait to the very last minute to sign these guys, or the guys that they, or the wrestlers that try to re-sign with the company because they don't want to leave. TNA is non-responsive. They're MIA. They don't keep that open line of communication with the talent. That is a problem, because if you have no communication between the front office and the talent, your talent's going to leave and they're going to go elsewhere. I understand that, you know, Anthem kind of wants to do this whole rebranding, this reboot, since they're owners. They brought back Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett is bringing back his old guard and everyone else who were a part of his team when TNA first launched. Excuse me. But you can't do business that way. And, you know, it's a shame, man. You know, some people may say, well, how come Jeff Jarrett can't do anything? Jeff Jarrett is just, you know, the head creator guy. He has no say in this at all whatsoever. He's even alluded to something like that, actually. I think if you, on his Twitter, he actually kind of alluded to something like that when he was wishing both the Hardys and Galloway, you know, the best in their endeavors. So really, this is more of an Anthem sports thing, and it's bad. And already, that kind of shows you they don't know jack about wrestling. Anytime they're allowing stuff like this to happen and let these top talents slip through the cracks, I think it's very bad for TNA. You know, a lot of people every year, we always think when TNA goes through something that, you know, that they're going to die, company's going to die. I don't think TNA is going to die. I think last year was probably the worst year of all in that company's history, where they potentially could have died. But when they losing stars like this, it just devalues the company, bar none. And, you know, you have guys like, you know, you look back at it and it's like, I'm glad that guys like AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe woke up, smelled the coffee, realized the sinking ship that TNA was, realized that TNA was not going to fully appreciate those guys and pay them what they're worth, you know, for all the years that they've put in that company and building it and taking it to another, and trying to take it to another level. And TNA really not giving them what they're worth for their value. I'm glad these guys are in WWE, NXT, and they're doing just as great, if not better, now in WWE than they were in TNA. So, absolutely sad. But regardless of that, awesome for the Hardys. Everyone can figure the Hardys got to be WWE bound. There were some rumblings last year of Triple H being a huge advocate for Matt Hardy, wanted to sign Matt Hardy. Jeff Hardy is still a huge star to me and still is a big draw. Matt Hardy has reinvented himself so he can get a nice paycheck. I think the only thing that would be probably the big issue is who would have the control and property rights of the Matt Hardy gimmick should Matt Hardy go to WWE with his broken Matt Hardy story. Will he have the creative freedom that he's had over this character like TNA allowed him to have? Or will WWE kind of like get their hands on it and tweak it a little bit, for better or worse? I don't know. But I think having the Matt Hardy gimmick and the things that they've done in TNA, if they can do in WWE with WWE's production, I think it'll be over like Grover, and I think it will be some of the most entertaining stuff we can see on WWE television in a while. That's for sure. If they don't go to WWE, I can see the Matt Hardy gimmick and everything that they do there fitting well in Lucha Underground. Only problem with Lucha Underground is having some problems with paying their talent. It's not really Lucha per se, but the parent company to Lucha, AAA Wrestling. But that's probably the only kink right there. But I think Lucha Underground can also fit the Matt Hardy gimmick very well, since Lucha Underground presents itself as a TV show with characters, not really a wrestling show. I guess the same can be said for WWE, but you get the idea. We'll love to see Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys, come back into WWE with the broke Hardy gimmick. I can only imagine, you know, the feuds that they could have with the Wyatts or what have you. A dream match of mine has always been Jeff Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. I think those guys can have a good, solid program together. Jeff being kind of like extreme and off the edge, and Wyatt being like a cult leader kind of like thing. I think that'd be awesome. Seeing the Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy versus Seth Rollins. Even though Styles and Hardy have faced each other before in TNA, but still under the WWE, it's just a breath of life, something that more fans can see. Jeff Hardy versus Seth Rollins, Jeff Hardy versus Roman Reigns or Dean Ambrose, what have you. Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. I mean, the possibilities are just endless for these guys. There's both individual stars and tag teams within WWE. So, sucks for TNA, but glad that the Hardys, are doing what they do. So I hope to see them in WWE soon. You guys let me know what you think about all the talents that's being released by TNA and the Hardys now being free agents. I want your thoughts in the box below. Comment, subscribe. Peace.